Ryan Giggs won 34 trophies in a glittering career where he played with and for the biggest names in the game.
Rio Ferdinand and Ryan Giggs lift the trophy.
I remember the manager pulling me and go, just remember who you are. You're not David Beckham, you're Ryan Giggs. And I was ready to take it and he just went over and just picked the ball up and just like, what are you doing? What are you doing, mate? And he's gone, club car, you won't get a club bike, and just gone for me.
So you got young Bale, young Rooney, young Cristiano. Who are you taking?
Ooh.
In this interview, you'll hear some home truths.
He's a big talent, but until the right moment, I will not change my mind. That's all.
Do you see a way back for Rashford?
It was heartbreaking. It was obviously a very difficult time. And I definitely dropped below the standards that I'd set.
So enjoy this episode where you'll see my old teammate in a way you've never seen him before.
Congratulations.
Oh, cheers, mate. I'll take that from this interview. It's the best part of it so far. Welcome to Real Meets, presented to you by Qatar Airways, the world's best airline. Now stay with me to check out who's next on Real Meets. Let's go. Thanks for letting us have this space, beautiful space. And listen, I think we look at football nowadays. Is there any players that excite you now when you watch? You sit there and go, I sit down, get my tea, get everything ready. I want to watch him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously when we played, you had Bergkamp, you had Zola, you had Di Canio, you had Ginola. The players like that now, probably Cole Palmer is getting to that. See bits of it off Maddison. I think Trent, even though he's not a 10 or he's not a forward player, just plays with risk. He just produces unbelievable passes. He's not bothered if it doesn't come off.
Talking of risk, how important was risk for you in your game? Because I remember when I first came there, one of the biggest things I saw with you is how you were that good with the ball and that the care you took with your passes and decisions, even while you were taking risk and you still executed. But what was risk for you? It
all come down to sort of how the manager wanted you to play. If I got the ball and didn't try and take the defender on, I'm coming off. No, I am. Or I go to take him on, turn back and pass back. No. What are you doing?
It's like today's player. Today's wingers are doing that.
Yeah, well, what you do? And I remember when Beck's come in the team and I started crossing it a little bit more. Obviously, look how easy it makes it. I wasn't Beck's. Beck's was like the best cross of the ball that's ever been. I remember the manager pulling me and go, just remember who you are. You're not David Beckham. You're Ryan Giggs. You take players on.
Wow.
And I was probably 5 or 6 years into my career then. So you're always learning, but no, I was always taught you take a defender on 10 times. If you lose it 9 times, don't worry about it. The 10th time you win the game.
That is so far removed from today, it seems. I mean, it's almost like the wingers. Look at Grealish, for instance. It looks like he come as a maverick from Villa, gone to City, and he's not getting told that. It looks the way he's playing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, for the shape of the team, keep the ball, etc. It's just so different.
It's hard, yeah. Keep doing it. Keep probing, keep risking, keep trying them passes, keep shooting. What I've just said, that if they do lose the ball, I'm not bothered.
I was thinking about this when you was coming in, because I think you had such a long, successful career. How did you used to go into games? Did it change over the years from when you were young to when you were older? But like, for instance, for example, when I used to go into a game, I used to have some non-negotiables like don't get beat in 1v1s, protect your channel, be crisp with the ball, like 3 or 4 like bullet points in my head that I kind of go over on a regular. Was anything like that for you?
Well, first of all, who am I playing against? Is he quick? Okay, right. I'm going to take him in areas where he's not going to enjoy it. I'm going to take him in them little pockets. If he's not quick, then I'm saying to Dennis, as soon as you get it in your right foot, I'm coming to the ball, I'm spinning. Hit the channel.
So communication's massive before
communication,
games as well.
Relationships around the pitch. It's different with Patrice then. Patrice, I'm going to hug the touchline. Patrice was the first sort of fullback that I underlapped.
Yeah.
And he plays it to me, I just flick it inside him. So the players who you're playing with, but also who you're playing against. So if you're playing intelligent players who always get the distance right, then you have to be on it because you have to just find a way. Yeah, and it was basically down to who the individual was, who you were playing against.
Who was your hardest opponent, talking about opponents there?
Lee Dixon in the early days was experience. And then later on, you had Cafu, who were just kicking off, and he's right wing. What are you doing? You're marking me. I'm not marking you. What's he doing? The hardest was Zanetti.
Was he?
Yeah,
Oh, what a
Javier
player.
Zanetti. Because he had everything. He was a midfielder, so he could handle the ball. He would run forward, sprint back.
That's a big thing, isn't it? That?
Yeah.
Running forward but sprinting back is a difference.
Because
isn't
physically I was fit and I could run for 90 minutes and repeated sprint. So yeah, okay, if you want to take me that way, as soon as we win the ball, especially if Pete was playing, I'm going to sprint forward, he's going to throw me the ball. You're going to do that for 90 minutes? Because I am.
It's weird. When people ask me about you, I always say, he was just like a thinker. He thought about the game in a lot of detail. Because I remember one time he said to me, Michael Richards just burst onto the scene, as he likes to say. And he was that aggressive fullback, wanted to get close to people. And I remember I was saying, like, how do you approach, I don't know if you remember this, I said to you, how do you approach someone like Michael Richards? And he was like, well, I'm just going to just come short, go long. He's got big muscles. Lactic acid will kick in at some point, and like later in the game, that's when I'll get him and come to life.
If I come up against someone like Mickey Richards or a centre half who was filling in at right back, I would, especially Mika, because he was stronger, quicker than me at my stage of my career and his stage. So I couldn't outrun him. As soon as he got hold of me, he was stronger than me. So I knew that it was just, it was the long game and just stop and start him. Just, whether it be with or without the ball, just keep stopping and starting him, knowing that as the game goes on, I'll get stronger and, he'll tire. And where in the first half he'd be going out sprinting up to me, second half he wouldn't be quite getting to the ball. So it was, if I played against centre halves, that would be my mentality really.
Just talking about wingers and making impact, Garnacho, what have you made of him in his first part of his career?
He's an exciting player. He likes to risk. He likes to take players on. As soon as he gets the ball, his first thought is, right, attack the full-back, which I like. As wingers, young players, you have dips. But also, what targets does he have in front of him? I used to have a 10 drop. I used to have a Teddy and Eric dropping off at Yorkie, or a Coley running behind, a Rude running in behind. I always had options. So I had a passing front and a passing behind. He probably doesn't have them options because there's only one centre forward. So then you have to build the relationship quickly. Because I see Hoyland running near post, pulling up, back post sometimes.
Yeah, no consistency, is there?
There's no consistency from him and from the wide man's. So he might be running front post because last time Garnacho played it to the front post. So it's about building relationship. He's now playing a different position where it's a lot back to goal. I feel his strength is facing the defenders up and taking them on. But he's a young player and he's still learning. And yeah, of course, like I did when I was younger, I had to improve on my goals, improve on my final ball. You have to do that as wingers and you'll learn that from experience.
What would be the couple of little golden nuggets that if you was in the building as a player or as a coach that you'd be feeding him now to really help him improve?
Well, when you're in crossing positions, what's your mindset? So if you're on the edge of the box, what's your options? Is it a 1-2? Is it a cut back, a little cross into the back post? I knew where everyone was running. So I knew Rude was in the middle of the goal.
He can't go nowhere else.
He wasn't running near post. He wasn't pulling off. He was in the middle of the goal for a tap-in. I knew that Scholesy would be arriving late. I knew that Eric Cantona liked back post the majority of the time. So I already knew where I was putting the ball. When you're running up full speed, your head's down, you got a defender up you, but you already know what you're doing. You can't, right, what am I going to do now? Oh, all right, the ball's taken off you.
Yeah.
So you've already got an idea where you are on the pitch, what you're going to do with it.
Mr. Mad, talking about details and communicating, Nani said that he was on the pod a while ago. He said that you was like the master of your position, but also said that you helped him with little chats. Have you got any what would you have spoken to Nani about? Because he could be quite a frustrating player. Crazy talent, How would you have approached him? Why and when?
I'm surprised he said that because
Why?
I remember one game at Old Trafford and he was going through a bit of a sticky patch and I said, right, Nanny, first time you get the ball, right? If you get it in a wide area, touch and cross. Because you're a good cross with the ball.
Yeah.
If it's a good cross, then the defender will get right up against you. And then that's the chance when you're running behind or you can dribble, blah, blah, blah. He gets the ball, first minute at Old Trafford, tries to take 3 or 4 people on. I'm like, on the other end, I've just told you 2 minutes ago what to do.
That's not it.
That was nice. But he was a player who instinctive just could. We all say it, don't we? He was strong, he was quick, he was both-footed.
Everything.
He had everything. But, yeah.
It's weird, isn't it? It's funny. He used to frustrate me, but he's a lovely lad, great funny
lad,
guy, man.
great
Funny guy.
Yeah.
One player we're talking about driving at players, a winger, Bal. I remember the first time you come back from international duty, you came back and I think you was just amazed. I think he tried to tell you how to take free kicks or something, didn't he? What was your first impressions of him?
We was at the end of training and I think I was just lining up free kicks. And I was ready to take it and he just went over and just picked the ball up and just like, what are you doing? What are you doing, mate? And then put it in the top corner. Okay, all right, yeah, okay.
I understand.
He was, he's the best Welsh player ever, without a shadow of a doubt.
It's mad because when he came, right, and if anyone said that, we'd have all gone, are you talking about Ryan Giggs? Giggs, but you're saying he's the best.
Without a shadow of a doubt, yeah.
Much better than you?
For what he did for the country, yeah. And obviously going on what he did at Madrid, he was unplayable for 4 or 5 years. And obviously we talk about that story when he first come into the team. And then when I was manager, my first game was, it was in China, away. And first half scores hat-trick. And obviously I'd seen the Euros. I'd seen it from afar. But that was like, wow. And he just looked bigger and stronger than everyone else on the pitch.
Was he like the big sixth former in the playground with the first years, like vibes?
Just bullied. And just shrugging players off.
What were his super strengths when you're seeing him and you're looking at him and going like that? They're the couple of things that is like different to anyone else.
Well, he looked after himself. He was fit. Tactically really intelligent. I was asking him to do things, he got it straight away. Some players you have to tell him again, and you have to show him on the pitch, then you have to show clips. He got it straight away.
It's weird because people complain that he didn't take football as seriously as others, preferred golf, etc. How were you like that when you were around him? Did you sense that he wasn't really as into football as maybe people would want or expect?
I don't know. I mean, it's a bit like Michael. Michael, his first love was
Michael Owen.
Michael Owen, yeah.
Horses.
Horses.
Used to walk in every day, racing post. I used to think like, and the way he talked about horse racing, his face would light up, wouldn't it? Like with the manager and that. But it wasn't the same with football, it seemed.
Yeah, but he still loved football, but it just didn't see the same. I don't know Gareth as well as probably I didn't spend obviously every day like I did with Michael, but yeah, he just loves golf. But yeah, I don't think it got in the way because of obviously what he achieved.
Yeah, crazy player. So you got young Bal, young Rooney, young Cristiano. Who are you taking?
Ooh. That's a front three, though. Yeah, I mean, I think Gareth and Cristiano obviously started off and they had a bit of work to do, whereas Wayne just come and he was
Finished
more or less
article.
finished the article.
Yeah, crazy, wasn't it?
I remember Wayne coming on and I'd heard about him. He come on at Old Trafford, he come on at right wing and I'm left wing. And, he's a bit big and I was like, and he just went past me. I went, oh.
When he was at Everton?
When he was at Everton.
Wow.
He was at Everton at Old Trafford, he come on and he just, what was that then? He just went past me and it was like so quick. And then obviously he came and he was just, when he was at it, he was unplayable. Unplayable. Because when the ball stuck, with Wayne, if his first touch was good. I knew he was going to play well, and I
Yeah,
knew
yeah,
he was
yeah,
on it.
Yeah.
If it was bouncing off him, then he wouldn't be quite at it. But shrugging people off, closing people down, just every type of goal, just hungry, just angry, just an amazing player.
Do you think Wayne got everything out of himself?
Yeah, I think he
Do
did.
you think there was more in Wayne? Because I always talk about, I'm interested to see what you say about this. Remember the year he scored 35 or
Yeah.
something goals as a number 9,
Yeah.
and he came back in that summer and was going, I want to be a 10. Don't play up front. Best, almost got on the Ballon d'Or, everything.
Yeah.
And then he goes, I want to be a 10 because I didn't enjoy myself. What was you thinking? Did you speak to him around that time about stuff like that or not?
No, I mean, it was when Cristiano left, wasn't it? So it was a void of sort of that centre forward role. And I think the manager had said to him, I don't want you running here then everywhere. I don't want you running channels, which he'd obviously done for 10 years. I want you to just stay in the box and you'll score goals, which he did. But Wayne just wanted to be involved. He just wanted to, he'd be getting it off the keeper. He'd be building up. He wanted to be in the crosses. He wanted to be crossing the ball. That was him. He just wanted to be all action. Whereas probably he was more effective, but didn't enjoy the game as much. He was more of a rude.
Talking about the players and stuff, I want to take it to the dressing room and like the values at Manchester United. You're the most decorated player that we've had, and we'll get onto that later. But Owen Hargreaves, and we've sat on the pod loads of times, and he talks about a dressing room full of sharks. But that's how it works in the dressing room. Who were the people that, probably have to go back to the early part, who were the people that kind of were the sharks who ran the dressing room and were the people that drove it?
Bruce, Robson, Pallister, Ince, Hughes, then Cantona came, Schmeichel. They were just men. And Brian Robson, coming towards the end of his career, obviously, my first full season, every game that Brian Robson started, you never thought you were going to get beat. He commanded that respect with us and with the opposition. And it was like, oh, I hadn't seen this before.
Yeah.
And you just go out. Roy later had that impact where if he's starting a game, you didn't think of course we lost. Of course we did. But you didn't think you were going to, because you had that power, that aggression, that leadership in the team.
Yeah, the younger people listening or watching this won't really know much about Brian Robson.
Probably a bit like Bruno now. He's the best player and he's not in a great team. Whereas Robbo, didn't win the league until the last game of his career.
Yeah.
But Robbo was, like I say, that's the biggest sort of compliment I can give him. If he was starting a game, you didn't think you were going to lose. And not only that, it was, away games, getting the coach everywhere, you get the coach back, the manager would get off first, Robbo would stand up and go, right, everyone, mulligans, 2 pints. Pub. 2 pints. After the 2 pints, you can go home or you can stay out. But everyone stays for 2 pints.
That's part of team building, that, isn't it?
It was part of team building. There's no mobiles then. So literally we're talking, we're in the pub and we're talking about the game. You should have passed to me. What do you mean you should have passed to me? And then all of a sudden it's like, well, I made that run, and you're actually doing a sort of tactical, analysis of the game without even knowing it.
Over a couple of pints?
Yeah.
That ain't happening now, is it?
It's not happening.
A couple of pints of like, what? Energy drinks and stuff like that, isn't it? It's different now.
What do you mean Powerade?
This Man United team, obviously everyone's sitting there going, what's the problems? How does it get fixed? What do you see at Manchester United now and you go, that needs to be fixed? What are a couple of things that you go immediately that jump off the page to you?
Well, recruitment. The recruitment in the last, and I was part of it, the last 10, 12 years has just been not good enough. Any business, any football team, you need that recruitment. You need a bit of luck. You need young, we had young players coming through. So you had a group of young players together with the best players in Britain, and, the Cantonas coming in, Kanchelskis, Schmeichel. So you need a bit of luck that you have them young players coming through. Recruitment, time. I like the manager. I like Amorim. I think he's charismatic. He needs time. He needs a few transfer windows. He needs backing. But also he needs help on what is a United player. And what a United player looks like.
Do you see a way back for Rashford?
No.
No. Why not?
I don't think he looked happy at United. I think he looks happier now. I just don't. Yeah, I just don't. Which is a shame because I seen him
As a kid?
I was part of the staff when we gave him his debut, and I remember walking over to reserve team pitches and just watching it. It was a small-sided game. Me and Louis walked over. Didn't really know him. Knew a bit about him. But all of a sudden it was just like bang, bang, goals. And it was just like, Louis went, no, he trains with us.
Is he?
That's the impact that he made. Obviously, trained with us, played, and he was just, it's like any young player just playing with freedom. He doesn't look like that. And for Marcus and for United, I think it's best if they part ways. And he'll be a brilliant player for someone. I don't know who.
What would you have been saying to him if you're in the building still in the last couple of years? How would you have approached that situation as a coach?
Well, you've got to, first of all, he's got to work harder. You know, I talked about no matter what position on the pitch you are, you sprint back as quick as you sprint forward. And aesthetically, it didn't look great, especially if the team ain't doing well. Because the fans will forgive you for missing a chance. They won't forgive you for not working hard enough. They just won't. Because they can do that. They can sprint.
Yeah.
Everyone can.
Effort.
Yeah. But then also, you know that what I talked about, you know that he can play up there.
Yeah, his ability is like not even in question, is it?
No, it's not. And he's done it everywhere. He's done it on the biggest stage. So, but it was from looking. It's hard from looking outside to in, but it looked like he's not enjoying it, and you've got to enjoy it, especially flair players. You know, attacking players, because that's your best moments when confidence is high. You're trying things, don't always come off, but play instinctively and play like you did when you were younger. Freedom.
Midfielders in the Premier League, who's the best? I know everyone goes Scholes, Gerrard or Lampard. You've got Keane and Vieira as well, De Bruyne now. Who would you go as at the top of that Mount Rushmore of those midfielders?
So the ones who could do everything, Keane, Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard, they're the ones for me who are at the top.
If I give me one though, give me one.
Scholes.
Scholesy?
Yeah.
That's enough. That's all I need to hear. He was a joke, man, seriously.
Yeah. But it's like the Messi, Ronaldo sort of, you know, just enjoy him. Just enjoy. You won't see it again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, when you're talking about just enjoy them, I don't know if I enjoyed playing with players and seeing stuff in a game as much as you. Like, do you remember when we used to come in, we used to huddle and I used to run up and celebrate and I used to say, I say some mad shit. But I don't know what I used to say. But and I used to see you or Scholes, you sometimes go like, in the midst of it all, go, like that. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, I used to be mad. But yeah, there was the two players that I used to think, wow, you'd make a pass that no one else I know on the pitch was going to make that pass. And I used to just be thinking, oh my God. And I'd be running up and people would think I'm going to go to the person who's scored the goal and I'm just going to one of you going, fucking, what a pass, man. Fucking hell, that's fucking cinematic. Do you know what I mean? Like mad shit.
Yeah, but there's, you know, you've got De Bruyne. De Bruyne is unbelievable. But, you know, could De Bruyne play in a two? I'm not too, you know, he could do probably if he had a right partner. David Silva, Cesc Fabregas. These are all unbelievable players. And of course, if you support that team, you're going to say that they're better than the midfielders we've just mentioned.
Just to take it back to Manchester United and take into account everything we've been talking about with the club and dressing rooms, what would be the 3 key values that you'd say that would be for the identity of a Man United player?
Got to be able to run. Because if you're in a low block, or as we'd say, just get behind the ball, make it hard for them.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to counter.
The other way.
Yeah. And like I said, you know, you got sprint. You sprint back as quick as you sprint forward. You've got to be able to handle the ball in any situation. And for me, as a forward player, you've got to have that imagination. You're seeing the best players, they risk, they have that bit of imagination, they try things. And that's the history of Man United. Not only have you got to win, you've got to entertain. You want, and that was a big thing, you know, Ferguson's team talks weren't just about football, but it was about, you know, men and women going to work on a Monday and just, oh, did you see that bit of skill? Cristiano, see Scholes' pass, see Keane's tackle. Talk about it, things that happen in a game. So you want to give the fans something to talk about when they leave that stadium.
I've done it. You've got to be able to run. You've got to be able to handle the ball, and you've got to be able to entertain and have a bit of imagination.
And that was, you'll know, when you come, when you sign for us, the boxes in the morning, that was
The best bit of training.
it was the best bit of training, but it had everything in it. You had to be able to handle a ball. I would bounce a ball into, if it was a new signing, I'd bounce a ball into you. All right, let's see if you can handle just a little slow one. And you'd be looking at me going, why are you playing a slow ball into me?
Tests.
And then your head'd go, why is he doing it right? Okay, right, I'll ping it back to him. And then gradually, you know, I remember first doing it to Vida.
Vida's head would have gone.
Vida's head goes.
Gone, yeah.
And then slowly he's like, all right, okay. And then all of a sudden, instead of just a 5-yard pass coming into you, you're ready for everything. You're ready for a slow ball, a ping, a bounce in front of you, a scud, where it's bouncing twice. It's a bit of topspin, a Scholesy one with a little bit around the corner. It's like
Roy used to wrap it down the line to you.
Roy wrap it, and then,
Smash it down
you know,
the line
wrap
to
it
you.
and then just look the other way.
Yeah.
And then just like, what do you mean? Nothing wrong with that pass. So it had so all of a sudden you're coming into training and you're not gradually getting into training. You had to be at it straight away. Wake you up.
The first moment in training was like 100 mile an hour.
Yeah.
It's mad because I remember my first day in the box in the rondo. Ollie smashed the ball at me, and I've tried to take a touch. It was on like a wet, quick surface, and the ball's bounced up and hit me in the face.
That's the worst.
Oh mate!
And everyone's laughing at you, and you want to cry. You want to kill someone, and everyone's laughing. And
I thought
that was like, and then you'd hear a shout. How much?
Yes, that was exactly the shout. I think it might have been you. Yeah, exactly.
30 or 3 million. Is it just that? What's going on? And instantly you had to. It was sink or swim.
That was like, I reckon that was one of the hardest moments mentally in my early part of my career at Man United because I'm coming into it's a group and there's no sympathy. There's no one going, oh, you know, it was a bad ball, Ollie. It's like they're all laughing and they all know what they're doing, and you standing there going, they think I'm shit. They think I'm rubbish. Like, how much? And that shout kills you. But then you've got to come in the next day and show that actually I'm meant to be here and show why the gaffer's gone and put that money
you
out.
had a horrendous month in the box, but I'll give it to you. Who's the best in the box ever?
Yeah?
Yeah. You had the little,
Shimmy.
you know, the little shimmy.
I'll take
and you
that.
could handle the ball.
Oh, I'll take
Yeah,
that.
no.
Yeah, I had a bad month though.
It was a bad month,
start.
but you come through it. Congratulations.
Oh, cheers, mate. I'll take that from this interview. It's the best part of it so far. But no, talk me through the. You're one of you and Scholes are the only two people that played in arguably two of the best squads that the manager produced: the '99 squad and the 2008 squad. Some might say the '93 team was up there as well. Compare them for me.
I do think there was three, and obviously the restrictions we had in Europe killed us a little bit in '93, '94. But that was just slap bang more. That was just you attack, we attack. It was just bedlam. It was just bedlam, and we just had power all around the pitch and players who could run. You know, if the opposition are crossing it, Pete's not even caught it. Me and Kanchelskis are running, and he's finding us. And before you know it, 2 seconds after Pete's, we're getting a cross, we're getting a corner, we're getting a goal. And that was it was aggressive. 99, then we sort of started going a little bit more towards European football, keeping the ball a little bit with still, you know, the two up front, one coming off. Strength in depth. We had goals. We had you know, the four centre forwards, just all completely different players. And they were all brilliant to play with. They were all dead easy to play with. I knew where every single one of them was going to be in the box. I knew where every single one of them was going to be on the pitch. And there was just that understanding and that strength in depth. I was injured. Jesper would come in. Scholes, he didn't play, but he come in. obviously the forefront lads.
Who were the main characters in that squad? Because I remember when I came in after that, 2002, you and Butty were the two main characters for me. You kind of run the dressing room banter, digging people out. Roy would jump in as well a little bit.
Yeah.
Who were the main guys in the 99 squad?
I think it was pretty even, really. Obviously, Pete was still there. Yorkie come in, was a breath of fresh air. You had Teddy with that little bit of southern swagger, turning up in a red Ferrari. What's going on here? You don't drive Ferraris up here.
How was that received at the club when someone like that comes in? Different?
He backed it up on the pitch.
Yeah. That's the main thing, isn't it?
He backed it up on the pitch, Teddy. He was a brilliant player. Yeah, and it was just, we had a great team spirit. Fast forward to the team you played in. That was the team where I would say we had, at the time, world-class players. Like the most world-class players. Edwin, obviously, yourself, Vida, Patrice, Ronaldo, Tevez, Rooney. And then, with that, you had Michael Carrick, Scholes, obviously. Owen, when he played, there was no one better. So you just had more, I would say, world-class players in that at that time.
Who would you pick out as, what would you say that's the best squad? Because that's an argument that goes on a lot in the pubs.
99 won everything, so you would say that would be.
Well, listen, we'll come on to more of like the high moments in your career. Well, I think it's easy to forget, and I think it's really important that young players hear you talk about it. But I'd come to the club and I'd see you as Ryan Giggs, like flying winger, great player, world class, etc. And at age 29, you were getting booed by some United fans and jeered at times, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is going on here? How did that impact you, and how did you get through that to stay there for another like 12 or so years beyond that?
Well, I think, when you hit a standard and you're not playing to that standard, then you open for criticism. And definitely the level that I'd played at, I dropped below that. And it was sort of at a time where hamstrings were, so when I would be flying, I'd get a hamstring injury. You're out for 4 or 5 weeks. You have to build up your fitness again and your sharpness, your match fitness. And it'd take you time to build up. Then you'd get another hamstring. So it was around that time, late 20s, that I was getting that. And also I was figuring out what sort of player. I was no longer kick it past the fullback and get it the other side. I was no longer that. And I was trying to work out sort of what player that I was.
Oh, so you were consciously doing that at the time? Like, I might have to adapt my game a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. And just trying to be more effective, but not as sort of reckless. Like, I talk about risk and, all that. Probably just tone that down a little bit, whereas actually I need to keep the ball a little bit more and just a bit more a game of chess and just play a little bit more inside, get on the ball a little bit. But still able to play out wide, take players on in moments. So, yeah, it was around that time. And I definitely dropped below the standards that I'd set.
How do you deal with that? 'Cause I only asked you that as well because as a player, Phil Foden now on a different side of town, blue side of town, but he seems to be going through, I don't think it's to the extent of the home fans, but there's people outside of the club and that's like questioning him a little bit just because of form. Maybe standards dropped a little bit. How do you then get yourself back into form and confidence and kind of get those people back on side?
Training. You need to train properly. I remember I was going through a bad spell. I can't remember where. It was Dean Saunders. And Dino was...
funny guy, Dean, isn't he?
Dean was funny. And I was coming off the pitch and I don't think I'd played well. And I was going through a bit of a... And he came up to me and just went, Giggsy, cream always rises to the top. And just walked off. And I never forgot that. I just like, right, if you've done it, you can do it. Phil Foden, he's got everything. He can beat a man, can score a goal, bravery to take the ball. Just like City at the moment, it's just not happening for them. So he'll come back 100%. But
did it hurt you? Because you were always like the golden boy of Old Trafford, always adulation.
I never seen that though, because I was always, I was always getting stick off the manager.
Yeah.
I never felt comfortable. I didn't want to feel comfortable. And I was always I'd walk around Manchester, I'd go out. So I was always open to, you didn't play great Saturday. So I was never getting, you were brilliant, you were brilliant, you were brilliant. I'd always get that sort of, that reminder that, you need to keep going.
Yeah. How were you when the manager used to dig you out? Because we always talk about this as well, I always realised he'd always go for the more experienced players as almost like to signal or to make points to other players subliminally. Do you know what I mean? How would you, because I see your face sometimes, I see you thinking like, are you taking the mick? Like, I've made one mistake, right, and you're digging me out. Yeah,
and like I said, the standards that you set, if you drop below them, especially him, he's seen me since I was 13. So he knew what I was capable of. And if I did drop below that, I'd be sitting next to Bex and he'd be having a go at Bex. I'd be going, Bex, keep quiet, keep quiet, keep quiet. And Bex would have a go back.
Yeah.
Next week it'd be Bex going to me, keep quiet, Ryan, keep quiet. And I'd be like, ah. But he just, I think he wanted that. He wanted you to show that you cared. He didn't mind you having a go back as long as it was within reason. But I made a mistake when I was younger. He had a go at me when I was younger. I went out at half-time. It was for the youth team. He barged Eric Harrison out the way at a youth cup game and just went for me. And second half, I played well, scored 2 goals. So then for now, he knows how to get reaction for the rest of my career. He knew that I wouldn't crumble. He knew that I would come out and go, right, I'll show you.
Yeah.
So that's when he would always dig me out. And like you say, if any new players are coming in or young players, he's having a go at me, then no one's safe.
It's weird. He made you feel really guilty for having to go back. I remember we played Bayern Munich away and we had a big argument in the change room. I remember Nev sitting next to me. You might have been there as well. And Nev went, just leave it. And I was adamant I was right. And I still, to this day, I thought I was right. But I still felt really guilty and felt really bad. I don't know did you ever feel like that? Do you understand what I mean?
I don't know about guilty, but I didn't want to bump into him the next day at training. But quite often, he would say, you were right.
Yeah.
To be fair to him.
Yeah, he's done that with me.
Not quite often. Now and again.
But in front of no one.
In front,
That's the key point, isn't it?
Did you hear that? Go back in the change room. He's just apologised. He hasn't. Shut up.
No, staying on him, on Sir Alex Ferguson, I think that the boss was obviously great for both of our careers and all of the players that played for him. But what was your relationship like? What were the differences as a 17-year-old or a 13-year-old to when you were 40 years old and you're retiring?
Yeah, I mean, I spent the first 4 or 5 years not understanding a word he said. I would just be like, yeah, okay. And he'd be like, think I'm new, I just didn't say anything because I didn't understand him. He had that cough. And at the cliff, if you heard that cough, you just turn the other way. You just, nah. Because he could just rip into you about anything. Fast forward, we'd have loads of arguments, battles, fights. And then, towards the end of the last 7-8 years, it'd be like, what do you think of this team? What do you think of this player? I'm thinking about playing like this. And the relationship just completely changed from someone who you just, would just stay out the way of because you didn't know what he was going to say, you didn't know what mood he was in, to actually just a really good relationship where he would seek your advice. Not always take it, but he would seek your advice.
What? Just to go back on that point, what type of players would he have asked you over the years?
Well, I remember after the game, he mentioned Cristiano. What do you think, Cristiano? Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah. He would ask me, he'd ask me about Gareth Bale, obviously players that not always we got. Maybe he asked me about Michael Owen.
Talking about, he was obviously, he used to be massive on little details, and I remember even buying your first car, you're probably thinking about him more than anybody else. What was that like as a young player? Because you talk about young players today, and they got so much money now, and they're buying this. They got all the big flashy cars. What was it like for you as a kid, getting your first car and having to think about what the manager's going to say?
Well, my first car, I had a disaster because I played 25 games for United, and back then the contract we had a deal with Volkswagen, so all the first teamers had great cars at that age, 17, 18, you're looking around. And I said to Brian Robson, Robbo, played 25 games. Do you think I'll be able to get a car now? I went, yeah, of course. I go and speak to the manager. Just ask him, just say, I played 25 games, I deserve a car. So I've gone, brilliant. So I've knocked on the door. I've gone, Gaffer, can I just have a word with you? He went, yeah. He says, I played 25 games now, so, all the lads are driving cars. I passed my test. And as I'm speaking to him, I can see his face just getting redder and redder and just getting angrier and angrier. And I'm going, what have I done here? And he's gone, fucking club car. Don't get above you won't get a club bike. And just gone just gone for me. And I'm like, anyway, I hear all the first team laughing outside his office. So Robbo just stitched me up big time. And I've walked out and Robbo's just killed me. All the lads are laughing. But then I talk about Teddy. I bought a red Ferrari.
You did?
Yeah, when I was 21. Oh. So at the Cliff, I used to park it round the corner. I didn't park it in the Cliff.
21, young player of the year,
21.
Wow.
550, Maranello. Red. I did 1,000 miles in it. I only drove it at night because I was scared of pulling up at the lights and someone going, "Do you think you know?" Yeah. And I parked it round the corner because I was that scared of the manager just, And I lasted 2 minutes.
That's 21. You've probably played 150 games.
Yeah.
You've won league titles. You've won Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, PFA Young Player of the Year.
I'm not parking that car.
And you won't drive your Ferrari.
No, because there's A8s, there's SL, there's S-Class, there's all granddad cars. And then that red Ferrari would just stand out and just the manager's face just looking out the Cliff window. Whose is that? No, I wasn't ready to deal with that. A red one as well.
Do you?
So I can't say anything to any player about buying cars, and I did it. Yeah, you live and learn.
So that's one of your first ones. What's one of your last ones you remember with the Gaffer? Bollockins.
Was you in America when he went for me?
What? Go on, tell me. What, on tour?
We'd all been on a night out, and
it's great that the tour, and it used to pack one going out bit of gear in your suitcase, isn't it?
Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah, we'd all been on a night out, and Wes had had a few drinks.
I remember.
The coach.
And he got on late with the glasses on, the shades.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the day after, he went for me, big time, and I hadn't done anything wrong for once. And he went for me, and I wasn't having it. And I went for him back, and we went back to the hotel, pulled him at the hotel, I was not having that, and he went, "Ryan, there's a lot of young lads in the team. If they know that," it was what we were saying, if they know that you're not safe, then they're not safe. And I just had to make an example. But yeah, that was the last one.
It'd be nice if he told you before, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you can chill out a bit, because your head just flies off. But obviously we had when I knew we were doing the interview, we set up a little WhatsApp group, didn't we? And you've been sending me a few stats on yourself from your wiki. With all your stats that you got, right? It's a long list, by the way, of all the things that you've done and achieved. But one part of that essay that kind of stood out for me, 2010, 2011, you were 38 years old at that point. 19 goals and assists in 27 starts. I've got it here. 1 assist in the Champions League round of 16, 2 assists in the Champions League quarter-final, 1 away goal in the semi-final, an assist in the Champions League final, scoring 1 of the penalties, and a Premier League title. At 38 years old, where does that rank in all the seasons you played as a standout?
Yeah, my most enjoyable seasons were my first 3 or 4.
Was it?
My last 4 or 5. In between, obviously, loved it. You had the treble, you had loads of stuff, leagues. But early on, it was sort of like flying winger, just 4-4-2, just swashbuckling football. And then towards the end, it was like from 34, 35, as you well know, it's like, this could be my last season, enjoy it. And then I just signed another year, and then another year. And I just seemed to never get injured and just enjoyed the football. But most important thing, I was surrounded by brilliant players. And it's easy. So it doesn't matter how old you are, really. So I'm playing in midfield, Michael Carrick there, unbelievable player, Wayne in front of me, Jason Park doing all my running, Pat doing all my running, Chicho up front. I was just, you and Vida behind, I was just surrounded by, and when you're on the same wavelength, from when they make bad passes into good passes, it's easy. Of course, you know, I look after myself, and I never had a bad injury, so I was never a bad knee or ankle caught up with me. And it just seemed easy it just seemed easier in midfield because you had so many options. And I just loved that last 5 years of my career.
You talk about it being easier, and I always say this to people, there's not many. Cristiano had 2 world-class Ballon d'Or careers in one, as a left winger and as a centre forward. I don't know many others. You're one of them who's had ridiculous career as a winger, then as a centre midfielder in the later stages of your career. How are you able to do that? Because it's not everyone obviously can do it.
I found it quite easy with good players around you. I'd sort of talked about 29, 30, just a bit more coming in field. And it was. Do you remember Gail, the optician?
Yeah.
So I moved more or less fully into midfield, and she pulled me and she went, "You're missing a load of passes on the left." And I went, "What are you talking about?" She went, "Well, I've had a think, and you've played your whole life just looking right. So I played left wing, the crowd's on your left. So you no need to look left."
Yeah.
And I had like not a blind spot, but a weakness. I went, "Have you seen Rio? He's got blind spots either side. You better go and see Rio first before you see..." No, I'm kidding. And I worked on, because I started looking at clips, and there was players, they were the little details, as well as looking after yourself. I had like loads of help. You had obviously brilliant facilities at Carrington. Yoga, osteopath. So I was fit. I was training every day. Might not have been as long as everyone else, but I was always available and I was always fit. And at that time, last 5 years, I never hardly missed a training session. And I just found it just from left wing to midfield, it just had so many more options. I could still take players on in midfield. Midfielders aren't used to another midfielder taking them on. So I could always do that. And I had the passing range as well.
When you say it like that, it's mad, isn't it? I could take people on and add a passing range. It's like normal. But it's funny you say that you're still looking for that extra little 1% in you. Whether it be yoga, whether it be making sure you're training every day, looking at new things that are coming in. Even, for context, Gal was an optician who used to come into the training ground and would just do tests on the lads, and you go in and you'd have to read like everyone else. Can you say them all them letters from far? How far do you get? But then when she says something like that, and it's about embracing that, and then looking at it, so you're looking at clips and stuff like that, and people wonder why you had the longevity you had. Yeah,
it's just you never complete football. You know, you're always striving to be better. And don't get me wrong, when I was 17, 18, I was turning up at the Cliff at 20 past 10. We were training at 1:30. You go in, cup of tea, toast, out. And I'm home, I'm St Anne's Square at 12:30 with my mates. You know, walking around the Arndale, St Anne's, you know, a bit of shopping, a bit of lunch. Fast forward, 32, 33-year-old, I'm getting at Carrington at 8 o'clock. I'm getting my breakfast. I'm saying to Rod, no one gets on that bed. I'm having a massage. I'm just going for some breakfast. Come back down, give me a massage. Then you've got Uffy doing my back, making sure.
Uffy, Mr. Angry.
Physio.
Yeah,
doing my back. Then I go out and train. Then I do yoga. I do an ice bath. Then I go from there to an osteopath. Go from the osteopath to that acupuncturist. I'm getting home at like 5 o'clock.
Wow.
That's the last 5 or 6, not every day, of course, but it was like twice a week. So that was my sort of mentality, because this could be my last year. I'm going to make the most of it. So it changed. The facilities obviously help, but you know, like Gail, you don't have an optician at 92, 93. You're just nothing near it.
You were a trailblazer in many ways, and what you just explained there, not many people would know if anyone were doing all that type of stuff, especially all of it together. Even like I think the first player in the Premier League to wear leggings.
Yeah.
Like, what are you thinking there?
At the Etihad, away from it. What am I doing? Yeah. It was just the hamstrings at that time, and I was just protecting the hamstrings. So it was just, didn't you know, you had the flight socks even, you know, I'd be living in flight because get the circulation going, all them sorts, insoles.
Yeah, I thought
everything that get me on that pitch, training and playing.
I've got some more stats for you here. This is mind-blowing, yeah? This is like crazy. 13 Premier League titles, 2 Champions Leagues, 4 FA Cups, 34 trophies during your Man United career. With all that being said and listening to that, do you think that you're kind of undervalued, bearing in mind what you've achieved?
No, I don't think I was undervalued by the manager or my teammates or the fans. You know, it's a lot. When you finish, you don't really get a bit of stick. When you're playing, you get, you know, I touched on it before, you're going out in a bar and you didn't play great today, blah, blah. When you finish, you only get nice things to say about. Fans say nice things about you. So, I don't know. It's like comparing players. It's hard, you know. Different eras, different ways of playing. We play 4-4-2. No, I don't know how, if I was a 15, 16-year-old now, I'd like to think I'd be playing left wing, but I don't know. Maybe I'd be off
the right. No, you'd be on the right, wouldn't you? Or one of the 8s in midfield, maybe.
I don't know. So I might have been a completely different player. I couldn't see myself. I played on the right quite a bit. I just never liked it. I always liked to take players on the outside, get crosses in. That was just my thing. So the game's changed. Eras are different, but no, not by the manager, most important, and my teammates. I never felt undervalued by them.
Are you bothered at all that you're not in the Premier League Hall of Fame? Because I see when I heard about that being kind of broached and right, it's there, the first 2 inductees. I didn't imagine anyone else. You're the first person that jumps off the page to me as the first person. Does that play on your mind at all? Do you think, you know, how am I not in there?
Not really, no. I mean, I don't think about it until you just brought it up. I don't think about it. I think when you start off, these are the things that you're not striving for. Yeah. You're striving off to win games and try and win trophies. That's the most important thing for me.
When you look at it and you go in the cold light of day on with that rap sheet, I've made it, mate.
No, I am upset now. Jeez, what's going on? I'm going to look at the list now when I go home. Is Nev on it?
No, I don't think Nev's on it yet. He'll get on it soon. He'll talk his way into it, wouldn't he? What would you like Ryan Giggs' legacy to be? I mean, obviously, other than being the most decorated player in Premier League history, what would you, if you sit there and you know what, that's what I'd like to be remembered as?
I did want to entertain. I wanted to entertain in training. I wanted to entertain myself. So I wanted to, at United, you've got to win. But at the same time, if you can entertain and try things, you know, try little nutmegs, try little tricks, try and take players on.
You love the nutmeg, don't you, in training? Do you know what my favourite thing with you in training used to be? With keepers. Any new keeper that would come, within the first week, you would have 100%, we were playing in a small-sided game, and the ball come at you on the left-hand side, and you'd look up, you'd get a big look up like that, to who's in the box. And immediately I'm going, you better get on your line, keeper, because if you're a little bit off your line, you give it the eyes to cross it, you go, I want to cross it, and you just put it in the goal. How many times I used to love that? And you used to go, hey, eyes, don't watch the eyes.
Have to learn a lesson early on, don't they? They have to. I love that.
Oh, that was
unbelievable. To Roy Carroll.
Oh, his head would fall off.
Yeah. Where are you going?
Let's talk about your transition into management. I mean, Ferguson leaves, Moyes comes in, then loses his job towards the end of that season. And that's where you step up from being like a player, going into management. How quickly did you make that decision, or have to make that decision?
I got the phone call off Ed Woodward. Did I want the job? You know, it's only till the end of the season, and yeah, it was straight away. I made the decision that.
You're not speaking to the gaffer. You must have rang the gaffer.
Yeah.
What was that conversation like?
No, he said this is the next sort of step in your career. If you want to be a manager, do you want to be a manager? At the time, I wasn't sure.
Weren't you?
No, and it wasn't until we got beat off in one of my games against Sunderland at home. Gus Poyet was manager. It was then that I knew, because I was making decisions and not even blinking. You know, about dropping mates, teammates who hadn't performed that day. and just I felt comfortable in doing it. The decision making.
Just go back to that phone call when Ed Woodward rings you. Like, what? Give us a bit of detail as to what that's like, because it's interesting for me. Like, you're a player, and all of a sudden they go, right, manager. How is that conversation going?
Yeah, it was obviously they were letting Moisey go, and they just said, listen, as the most experienced player, you've been at the club so long, would you take over till the rest of the season? There's 4 games left. We really want you to just see out till the end of the season.
How tricky is that for you? Like you just said they're making decisions with mates you'd been sharing a dressing room with, then all of a sudden managing the staff who were managing you at times, probably.
Yeah. I never got nervous as a player, but as soon as that phone call, it was like, I was nervous. And I was like, well, this is huge. But at the same time, I wanted to help the club and see out the end of the season.
What's the most difficult part in that transition for you? What's the most where you've maybe lost sleep over and you was like, well, I didn't anticipate this. I didn't see this coming.
It's not thinking like a player anymore. You can't think like a player. I try and not reference when I was playing or what I would do. So you just try and shelve you as a player and try and establish yourself as a manager and your personality.
Louis van Gaal comes in as manager. You go on to be his assistant or one of his coaches, and was it easy to just take that role?
I flew out to Holland to meet Louis. So we met him in a hotel room. Louis was mad. He was mad. So I've opened he's opened the door. I'm with Ed Woodward, and Louis looked at me and punched me right in the stomach. He's gone, you are in good shape. And just punched me, little
dig.
What is he doing? And he was just, come in. He said, I have a list of names. I want you to tell me who stays, who goes. Wow. So anyway, we went through the squad.
Who did you say has to go?
You. No, I've just gone ticked. I think we were 1 out. So instantly, he was like, yeah, I agree with that.
Same thinking.
And he said, I want you to be my assistant and you will help me, and blah, blah, blah. And Louis was really good for me because he was like a different way of how I'd worked before. Obviously, different than Sir Alex, different than David Moyes. And he was very much a teacher, very much, obviously Dutch thinking. Everything is logical. But I learned a lot, and I've taken a lot into the way that I managed from Louis, and he was really good with me.
One of his quotes were that I expect Ryan Giggs, will be manager after me. Is that something you wanted? Is it something you spoke about with him?
It was after that 4 games, I wanted it then, but I wasn't ready. After Louis, I felt that I was definitely ready. Obviously, Jose came in and I left.
But feeling that you were ready, what would have been the biggest thing you'd have learnt from Louis van Gaal then in that time to get you to that point?
Just the way that he worked, really, the way that his leadership. He was very much like Sir Alex in the fact that he delegated, so he trusted people around him in the different positions, which I liked. I think recognising a United player. Louis perhaps didn't get that with certain players who were good players.
Like who would you have said that about, that he brought in or recruited?
Di Maria was a United player, I felt. But at the time, we played with a diamond, so he played left of a diamond, or we played 3 at the back with 2 up front, and he played 10. So we never really played
his position,
where we sort of scouted him off the right for Madrid, or now and again off the left. He never really played that position. But he was a United player.
I loved him.
It's like Grealish. Grealish is a United player.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
He's got the...
Wants it, innit?
Yeah.
Did it hurt? You get to a point, it's your club, you've been there so many years, won so much, then you get to a place where, like you say, you felt that you were ready to manage, that then they don't go and choose Jose Mourinho. Did that hurt you? That
No, it didn't. I think it was an intense 2 years. It was obviously difficult because the team didn't do great in them 2 years. Obviously, we won the FA Cup, which was brilliant. But no, I was ready to go then.
Just taking it back to Wales. Obviously, you start as a caretaker manager, then assistant manager at Manchester United. Next job was taking charge of your country. What's that like? What's the interview process like for that? How did it start?
The interview process was interesting. It was in Birmingham, and I've turned up a little bit early,
As you do,
and I've parked at the car park. And walking in front of me, I've only turned up like 15 minutes before, is one of the other people going for the interview. And I've gone, like, this is Wales as a player. This is like not organised. This is, what am I doing? Because as a player, it was like, not towards the end, it was all right. But the majority of my Wales career was a shambles. You know, the organisation, the travel, the pitches, everything, the kit, everything, the food. So it was a shambles. So I thought, oh no, it's the same. But then I go into the room. There's the councillors. There's the chief exec, Jonathan Ford, and I'd obviously worked on the my interview, my presentation, and the one thing that I said was the one thing that I left them with was, when I leave Wales, and it's a big shout because it's been the most successful period of Wales is with Cookie, with Chris Coleman, I will leave you in a better state than you are now. That was the one thing that's what I said after the presentation. I said, I guarantee you, I might not be successful myself, but I will leave you in a better state than you are now.
From results or just holistically? Everything.
Because I was going to bring young players through, I was going to fast track, I recognised that brilliant players who, you know, Chris Gunter, Ashley Williams, Sam Vokes, you know, just players who had done so much for their country and they were just coming towards the end. And the way that I wanted to play as well, I had to bring young, and I knew that there was young players coming through. I knew there was, you know, the Dan James, the Brookses, the Harry Wilsons, Connor Roberts, Joe Rodens, all these players. I knew they were coming through. So I was prepared to sort of gamble with these players and not the very nice job of sort of phasing out.
Ruthless.
Yeah.
What does, going back to a presentation, what does a Ryan Giggs presentation look like? How many slides you got?
There's a few. I've got to put what I've won in the game. I said I don't like to reference this is what I've done, by the way. But just what I see in every position. That's where Louis helped, because I had only played, you know, a certain sort of way. Louis came in, he played three at the back, he played the diamond, he played all different systems, and the way that he thought about the systems, who he was coming up against, and the way that he would press in that sort of system was really something that I'd never seen before. So that really helped me. So I was comfortable in different ways of playing.
You go and manage Wales, and obviously you manage them to qualification of a tournament, but never got to see it out. How was that for you? Because you seem, like I can see now, the passion, the intent that you had, and not being able to see it through.
Yeah, I mean, it was heartbreaking. It was obviously a very difficult time because I'm watching it on TV, and I remember, who did we score against? I can't remember if it was Turkey. And we scored late on, and I'm jumping around the front room, and then all of a sudden I look at the TV, and it's all the staff and players jumping in the dugout, and I'm gone. I've sat down and gone, right.
Should have been me.
Yeah, a bit of that. So it was it was a difficult time.
Do you still have that harbour dreams to be a manager?
Yeah, I feel like there's unfinished business.
What level would you want to go in at? Would you be willing to go in at?
I don't think you can pick and choose. I think, you know, if a job comes available where you feel that there's a team that can do better, whether it be here or abroad, doesn't really matter to me.
Okay, good. Watch this space, eh? Right, we've got to the bit where the listeners, the viewers, they love this, right? Best five-a-side team. You've got to pick your best five-a-side team. Keepers ain't involved. They're not involved in this. Sorry, Pete. Sorry, Ed. But you're not. We've done it on the pod with all the guests. Yaya and Bex's five-a-side teams are crazy. So I'm interested to see what yours looks like.
Okay. So I had that. It's 22 years.
I know.
I could do 2. I should do one where they play each other. Okay, I'll put you in. I'll put you in, yeah.
Don't. There's no.
No. But it was either you, Vida, or Yap, and you could defend like Vida and you could play like Yap. So, you, Scholesy. Scholesy's a must. Rooney's a must. Cristiano's a must. They're all pretty. Yeah.
That's 4.
Do I need an attacker or do I need a... Jeez.
Your all-time. You got Cantona, Roy Keane's. So you got me, Scholesy, Rooney, Cristiano Ronaldo. One more.
I'll put Roy.
Roy Keane.
It's between Roy and Eric.
Wow.
I'll put Roy in.
Because
I already said, if he's playing,
you win.
You win.
Just for, because obviously we see him on telly, these young kids and people see him on TV. What was Roy like behind the scenes? Just give us take us back into the change room. Because we see him as a snarler and he's quite abrasive at times on TV.
My first encounter with him, I was playing for United, he was playing for Forest. I think I nutmegged him at Wembley or something like that. I took him on, he took me out. And I'm on the floor and he's over me going, he's screaming at me. Who's this character here? And then he comes obviously to us. And he actually was playing right back for a bit because Chucky, Brian McLeod and Ince were playing midfield. He played started the season at right back, but just, you won't remember him. He was up and down and he was a goal scoring midfielder and he was just power, could finish, brave. But then later on, he just knew what he was good at.
Just conducted the whole game.
Yeah,
really
he just knew what he was good at. And, we talk about the boxes. You could bump a ball into him and he'd pass it, he'd control it.
Mm.
And he just felt like he was everywhere.
Mm. But as a personality though, it's actually
a personality, you see the snaps, that's 2% of him.
Yeah.
Most of the time, the snaps are off the scale. That's why everyone concentrates on him. But yeah, there was the group of us, and he was one of the funniest guys you're ever going to meet.
Yeah.
He's just, and he's good to be around. He's good company. Don't forget anything. Remembers everything.
Mad that, isn't it?
Yeah, remembers everything.
Yeah, but you said so-and-so. What? That was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
We were drunk.
Yeah, remembers everything. But no, he's really good company. Isn't he?
Yeah.
Really good teammate.
Listen, so many people have been asking us to make sure we get Ryan Giggs on the show. So I hope you've enjoyed your time here with us. I'm sure you guys will. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the invite.
Man.
Cheers,
man.
mate. Thank you.